Hello, Chiefs Kingdom, and welcome to the Milwaukee ChiefsCast, live from the Wolf Den. I am Chris.
And I'm Josh, and this week we are recapping the Week 15 game where the Chiefs beat the Saints in NOLA by a big, easy score of 32-29. Our next game is Week 16, which is 12:27 at noon Central, the only time zone that matters, as we welcome the Dirty Bird from the Dirty South, a.k.a. the Atlanta Falcons, to Arrowhead. Big reminder to all Southeast Wisconsin residents, you are invited to join us for game day. Visit MKEChiefsfans.com for more info.
Today, as always, we'll be talking Chiefs. We're also going to talk about the upcoming playoffs and cover a little bit of the Pro Bowl. Today with us are a couple of True Blue OGs. We've got Chris and Dean Crow with us today.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
And, of course, we also have our sound engineer, Brian Reynolds, and our editor extraordinaire, who's got a cool segment this week as well. As always, we are presented by Complete Weddings and Events, your local leading provider for photo, video, DJ, photo booth, lighting, and coordination services. Visit them at CompleteWeDo.com. And let's jump right into the Chiefs for this week. So we will let our guest, Dean, give the take on the Chiefs first. What do you got for us?
Man, well, the number one team in the NFL. What bad is there to say right now? You know, all I'm hearing now is just people talking about how close of games that we've been having lately, how we let the Dolphins come and make it a one-score game, how we let the injured and crippled Drew Brees come back and make it a 3-point game in New Orleans. But honestly, I came to the conclusion I really don't think Andy Reid's pulling out the playbook on these guys. I think it's the regular season. I think he understands that the real fight is going to be in the playoffs, and I think that's what he's really waiting for. He's waiting to get this team all together after Week 16 and start making a run in the playoffs. It's time for number 2.
So I'm going to jump in with my take right after that, because Sean Payton is one of those guys who's known for running scores up in the regular season, and Michael Thomas isn't playing as a result of that. And I've kind of felt this entire time that Reed's trying to avoid that type of situation, and lo and behold, the whole thing happens to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and for all rights and purposes, his hometown game. If this is it for the season, I'm pretty happy with what he had for his rookie campaign. I think that was great for a rookie running back coming into the caliber of offense we had. He carved a role out for himself. He was the standalone lead back the entire time, even after Le'Veon Bell was signed. I mean, we obviously don't know what would have happened if Williams would have played for the season, but this has just been a weird year. But we're all hoping that Clyde gets well soon. And on a further note, this is why you sign a guy like Le'Veon Bell, who's starting to look like his old self again. It looks like the Gase is finally washed off of him, which is a good thing. And my whole take is the same thing as what Dean said. This team was up to the task of taking on a title-focused team with a stout D and a high-caliber running game. The effort was showing, and it was what we needed and what we expected. And just real quick, two more comments. I really liked how Nance and Romo were calling Mahomes Pistol Patrick, which is, of course, after LSU grad Pistol Pete Maravich, who was a stud for both LSU and then when the Jazz were still in NOLA. And just one more shout out. Brian and I are both in the Sigma Alpha Epsilon fraternity, and so was the Pistol himself. So that was really awesome to see as well. Had to pull that out. And last comment about the game, does Tony Romo actually practice witchcraft? Because sometime around the 10-20 mark in the third quarter, he makes a comment about the Chiefs having potential to put Kelsey in motion. And it was like he stabbed a voodoo doll and Travis Kelsey goes in motion at the same time. And it was just ridiculous. And it's a beautiful thing to watch that guy work. Just amazing. Whatever he's getting paid isn't enough. And, I always kind of liked Romo as a quarterback, but I don't think that I've seen an announcer that I just enjoy watching call a game more than him. So, yeah, Chris, throw it over to you.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I love his enthusiasm every time I watch him. But, I mean, the Chiefs dominated this game statistically. That's what really pops out to me. They had 19 more first downs. They held the Saints to below 300 yards, time possession 41-14. I mean, third down actually was a big stat in this game. Chiefs were 9 of 18. They held the Saints to 1 of 11. I mean, there's something to be said, and I like what you said, Dean, a lot about, the fact that there seems to be a lot of pundits out there that want to criticize the Chiefs for barely winning.
Exactly.
I'll touch upon that again later on, but there's also something to be said about being up by 2 or 3 scores in the fourth quarter. I mean, I'd rather be in that situation than the other way around, although our team has showed in the past, the Super Bowl, that if we're down 2 scores in the fourth quarter, we'll actually we stand a good chance to pull out the win. But yeah, no, we had who on the offensive line started at the beginning of the year in this game? Fisher and Ryder?
We have a doctor in Canada who's not playing as well.
And we've got a guard playing right tackle.
We had Schwartz out.
He actually got Cam Jordan thrown in the game. So hey, there's Andrew Wiley. But yeah.
This isn't the college football playoff where we have a 6-win Ohio State team trying to beat the brakes off of somebody to keep the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers from sniffing a bowl game or anything like that. I mean, there's no merit other than the win-loss column. And there's a guy who writes for WTMJ, which is the Packers flagship station, and also ESPN, named Greg Matzik. And he put a thing up a couple weeks ago that the Chiefs can obviously win both a rock fight or a shootout. And this was after the Bronco game, and it just makes you scary. They're battle tested. A win's a win, and it's hard to win games in the NFL. The Jets make that painfully obvious every single week, and the Steelers have made that painfully obvious here in the past 3. And the Chiefs have won 12 times. So there you go. I mean, what do you want from them? Sorry, 12 or 13. 13, yeah. See, I can't even keep track. This is just dumb.
God, I love the Chiefs, man.
Brian, anything? The last 23, you think about it.
Exactly. Brian, anything to add on to the Chiefs before we go into a quick thing about the Pro Bowl?
I remember as I was watching the game, that a lot of the talk was about like Super Bowl preview. And the whole time I was watching, I'm watching it because, we're in this part of the season, and I'm thinking to myself, if I was watching the first 3 quarters, how nervous I would have been, because even as Drew Brees, he was having just a terrible, likely so, because he was coming off all his injuries, but not doing what he normally does, or not even delivering at any level, but still doing what they were doing, hanging with, and made me very uncomfortable. Because if this was a Super Bowl game, I would have been very uncomfortable, very nervous going into that second half, and so. But obviously, as we close it out, and the score is as close as it was, it's interesting because now that we are in the regular season, I remember thinking to myself, I was never really that nervous, because obviously we're getting used to the way of the Chiefs find a way to pull it out. They just do. But obviously, when it's one and done, where season's over, then the stakes are higher. You get more tense. So that's where it makes you more uncomfortable. But I felt like we were, even though the score was close, and I always felt like we were just in the driver's seat, and we were really delivering well. So, but it was a fun game to watch, and I really enjoyed myself, and there's some fun plays to reflect on as well. But yeah, it's like where we're going, and hopefully we'll see what happens in the postseason. But this is a fun one.
I've heard a just kind of business strategy, seize your day, Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins type of thing, where it says to be truly successful, you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I think as a fan, as a team, that game against the Texans in the playoffs last year, if you didn't get comfortable being uncomfortable, I don't know what you're looking for. So
about as bad as it gets.
I felt some deep apathy at some point.
Exactly.
I looked at Bob and I said, "Hey, the Oilers came back on the Bills, right?"
I remember that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Bob was like, "Sure."
And at that point, Bob got online and bought tickets for the AFC Championship game and talked me into it at halftime. And here we go. Yeah. We both went to that game. So that's how that's how much of a profound effect that game had. And this is coming from somebody who was actually at the game in 2013 in Indianapolis after that season. And I remember watching that, and I was sitting with my wife and my now almost 8-year-old who was an infant, and trying to not get into a fight with the people sitting in front of us, which is another story for another day.
I remember that day too.
But I remember sitting there and watching that ball that fumbled and fell into Andrew Luck's arms, and I'm just like, God damn it, we're going to be watching this on every single highlight film when Luck is trying to go into the Hall of Fame, and I don't think he is at this point.
I made a scene in the middle of the Milwaukee Ale House when that play happened. and one of the workers just came back and he was like trying to comfort me.
Yep.
It's like I saw it that at that point it was over.
So we all knew that was it. We all knew that was
First
it.
time I shed a tear in a Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah.
Oh man, that hurt.
So anyway, we're past that and it's great. But let's get into the Pro Bowl. So obviously the Pro Bowl isn't happening this year because we can't do anything fun. But the Chiefs were part of the duo or trio, whatever it was, of teams that led the league with 7 Pro Bowlers, which were in no particular order: Mahomes, Clark, Fisher, Tyreek Hill, Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, and the landlord, Tyrann Honey Badger Matthau. Do we feel like there is anybody from the team that got left off, that got snubbed out? Honestly, I'm pretty happy with that 7, and there's nobody jumping out directly that I would say should be there. I think if we would have gotten a full season of L'Jarius Sneed, he would be our 8th one, but we didn't, so he's not. Dean, any thoughts on anybody that was missing, or are you happy with that lineup?
Will you run through that list one more time?
Yeah, you bet. So it was Mahomes, Frank Clark, Eric Fisher, Tyreek Hill, Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, Tyrann Matthau. So 3 defenders in Clark, Jones, and Matthau, and 4 offensive players in Mahomes, Tyreek, and Kelce, and Fisher.
I don't know. I feel like we're missing Mecole as a special teams player. I mean, he's had a return. I mean, God, Byron Pringle even had a return against the Broncos. I mean, I haven't seen many return touchdowns this year outside of the one by that kid on the Ravens. What was that, week 2, week 3?
Yeah,
that's right.
I honestly didn't look at who the kick returners were, so that was kind of a rock I left unturned. By the way, it's ridiculous how hard it is to just find a flippin' Pro Bowl roster. I got myself worked into a frenzy because I accidentally found the one from last year, and I'm sitting there going, what the hell is Jarvis Landry and who's the I don't even remember his name, Ingram. I'm like, why is Mark Ingram on here?
Yeah.
But
no, I kept Googling that too. I Googled like Pro Bowl 2020. It's being last year's team, and I didn't realize it. But
so maybe some kicking, and they still do it where the top team from the AFC would be the coaching staff, right? So Dave Tobe is essentially.
Well, they actually already named.
Coach, right?
They already named the coaching staff now because they have team captains.
That's right. Right.
So I think I don't know how the coaching staffs get picked, but I know they've already been picked.
Well, regardless, every year the Pro Bowl is the game you want to be picked for, but nobody wants to play, and it looks like we're all getting our wishes this year, and maybe they'll just quit playing the game and we can move forward. Brian, did you see any snubs, or are you just good with that list?
I'm good with that list, and I just want to say when it comes to special teams, as much as I love Butker, he's not on that list, is he? So
I'm making a cut.
No, Chris.
Can't miss didn't expect to be on that team.
I guess the only last thing I'll say is I don't know how Frank Clark made the list. I mean, I don't know if I'm missing something here, but
Chris, I asked if we had any snubs, not anybody that didn't deserve to be there. So let's just
I'm pretty sure that he snubbed somebody who I don't know.
This is called flipping the script.
Hey, we're gonna keep driving past that one. So the more interesting part of the Pro Bowl, I think, is there are 5 teams that didn't get a single Pro Bowler, which seems like a really, really big number. I feel like it's usually 1. But I'm going to list the 5 teams, and we're going to kind of go round robin, and we'll start with Dean again. And you tell me if there's anybody from each of these teams that you think could have potentially made it. So number 1, Dallas Cowboys. Number 2, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 3, the New York Jets. Number 4, the Cincinnati Bengals. And number 5, the Carolina Panthers. Anybody from any of those teams that should have made it?
Oh man, that's. I mean, the only guy that I could think of being close to it would probably be Teddy Bridgewater, and that's only because he's come back under tremendous circumstances and still been able to play at a high QB level. I mean, they were 9-3 to start the season. I mean, they're on a down slope now, but he definitely showed up this year, and I don't know, maybe Quinnen Williams from the Jets, good D lineman.
He is very good.
He's a dog, like DAWG dog. Like maybe, but even then, like, I mean, you look at how those teams have performed, it's really hard to pick anybody off there and just be like, yeah, you're worth it.
Yeah.
Chris, any additional thoughts to that? Or are you pretty much on the same page?
James Robinson off the Jaguars.
Right there with you. Right there with you.
James
James Robinson is a snub.
But then again, I don't know who
God.
the other running backs are on the starting team, so that's how close I pay attention to the Pro Bowl. But I mean, I would have thought he would have made the team.
Josh Jacobs would be the spot he'd be taking from my perspective.
Yeah.
I don't feel like
Mr.
Jacobs
3.5
has had a season where he's played every game and come proper. So to me, Robinson should have taken that. From the Bengals, I'd maybe throw Tyler Boyd's name out there. He's been a pretty legit receiver when he's catching balls from Burrow, but he's kind of disappeared since then. I wouldn't throw anybody out from the Jets or the Cowboys. And the only thing I could think of when I consider the Panthers is remember when Christian McCaffrey was awesome? That was pretty cool.
Well, actually, I mean, they're wide receivers. Well, this shows just how
Curtis Samuel, number
Curtis
12.
Samuel.
Yeah.
Well, at one point they had it was Robbie Anderson and Curtis Samuel.
Robbie Anderson
and DJ Moore actually had the most
yeah.
combined yardage, but that was like a month ago. So
They've got a good receiving core.
They do.
Brian, any
Small
thoughts
guys.
on this?
I think we covered the whole topic there as far as I'm concerned. I think you'll figure that one out.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. So let's get into favorite play calls. I'm going to take the one that I think a bunch of people probably have, which was that McCole Hardman touchdown. I mean, good God.
Yeah.
He hasn't looked the part the entire season, which I think is why he isn't getting any kind of Pro Bowl consideration. But by God, did he look the part on that one. There's nothing else to say. That was just a phenomenal play. My father-in-law from Vegas, who's a Charger fan trying to convince himself not to be a Raider fan, sent me a text that just said, good God, and I don't know what else to say.
No, I mean, I texted you guys about this, but I mean, it reminded me of the Packer game last year where Rodgers hit Aaron Jones in the right corner of the end zone, almost the same, but Mahomes was going to his left when he did this. I mean, and just put it at the only spot he could have. That was incredible.
First play I thought of was that Steelers last Super Bowl when this what was it, Santonio Holmes?
Antonio Holmes, yeah.
Yeah.
Dragging
both feet down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that dude, he got a $50 million contract for that play though. So Dean, what was your favorite play?
Honestly, my favorite play was probably that Cam Jordan evasion with the little sidearm to Sammy Watkins about 14 yards down the field. That was shades of last year in the snow game against the Broncos. The little over under from Von Miller, 2-point conversion to Sammy. He's just man. Every time you're seeing Mahomes, he's just pulling some rabbit out of a hat that you haven't seen before. He's slinging it sidearm somewhere you haven't seen. He's putting it behind a guy's helmet. The guy just can't miss. It's ridiculous. And then he's dragging the toe behind him like he's throwing it to first base. Oh, God, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Brian, what play jumped off the tape for you?
I would say in the second quarter, the Saints not scoring a touchdown, they having to take a safety when that guy dove on the ball. That was probably my favorite play.
Marcus Robinson, what are you doing?
God bless that kid, but he's just been an absolute liability lately.
So Brian likes chaos, is what I'm hearing here.
Yeah.
Best play call, the one that jumped out. We talk about Reed not pulling out the whole playbook, but right at the Tyreek Hill's touchdown, that whole formation that they had, and you just see him kind of running around in the backfield, and you just see the Saints D going, what's going on? And our entire room was sitting there going, I was going to throw the ball to Tyreek Hill for a touchdown here. I don't know what route he's going to run or what he's going to do or where he's coming from, but he's going to be open. And sure enough, that was it. So great play call. Chris, what do you have for that?
Well, so right after Cam Jordan got thrown out of the game, Andy Reid dials up an option play right to the right tackle. So that worked out beautifully because Mahomes was like untouched for 7 yards and still pitched it to Le'Veon Bell, who was untouched going into the end zone. So that was pretty sweet.
Gotta love the options. Dean, what was your favorite, or what do you think was the best play call?
I think the best play call, and I don't think it's going to be a play you guys remember, but I watched it very heavily on those guys reporting it on Twitter. I forget the Twitter handle, but Le'Veon Bell had like an inside zig route where it was supposed to go. It was a misdirection to the left. He's supposed to cut it back up the A gap. Both linebackers drop to the A gap. He cuts it even wider, goes outside B gap, and ends up getting another 6-7 yards on Marshawn Lattimore. Where it's little plays like that is really showing that Le'Veon Bell back in Steeler fashion, you know, the all-pro that we're known and used to. And I'm really glad to see him start picking that up right before the playoffs, right after this whole Clyde debacle. It's good to see him getting back into form. I hope he's got that playbook down pat.
Yeah. Brian, what do you got for us?
Well, you know, it's hard to talk about because you guys pick all the good ones. So when it comes to like the play calls, like I will say, instead of play calls, I will say like the consistency of the play calls. So I was looking at the replay of the game between the second and third quarter where Mahomes was throwing, you know, kind of like 7-yard passes that were consistently delivering, and then getting us across the first down. I guess when it comes to like play call or play decisions, Mahomes, whenever he runs, he's had a bad habit of you know, not sliding, but he slid finally. Like, yeah, don't fucking please slide. You're worth a lot of money. Please don't do that. Or when he tries to make a tackle, whenever somebody, I remember there was an interception a while ago and he tried to make a tackle. So it's like, please don't put yourself in that kind of harm. I remember watching him slide finally. So I was just happy he's started to get I think someone got in his ear to be like, hey, start sliding and not doing stuff like that. So
remember that kind of baseball game you almost played?
Sliding into the base.
Guys would do it all the time.
$500 million.
Oh, yeah.
Please don't do that.
Exactly. Dean, so one of the things we do every single week is an old friend alert, and that's anybody that's got a former Chiefs affiliation, so it could be player, coach, something to that effect. Who was the old friend that you noticed this week?
Ooh, old friend I noticed this week. Actually, it was Dante Hall. I noticed Dante Hall on Twitter talking with some guy. I don't think it was Vice. It was one of those little like couch sit down sessions, and he was just talking Chiefs football. And this guy is just ecstatic for Patrick Mahomes. Like it warms my heart to see the players that I grew up watching loving these Chiefs like I love them now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like you see Tony Gonzalez, you see Dante Hall, guys that when I was a kid were the top dogs in Kansas City, and now they're just the real X Factor.
Yeah, that's right.
Out here, just admiring what the Chiefs are doing. Like it's crazy to see an ex-player in awe of the current players.
Yeah, Dante Hall made Devin Hester possible. It's kind of like the band that puts that experimental album out that makes it possible to, you know, consume that and give it a Grammy.
Yeah.
Chris,
he's the kid A there of
exactly.
Yeah.
Who was your old friend, Chris?
I'm going to come back to Emmanuel Ogbah because that guy's having a season. So again, he had another sack for the season. Emmanuel Ogbah's got himself 9 sacks, which actually is in the top 10 of the NFL. He was a nice little flash for us last year until he got hurt. So, you know, he's doing some things for the Dolphins this year.
Yeah. Brian, any friends?
You go next.
All right. So I was dead set ready to talk about who I want as a future old friend. I hope Eric Bieniemy finally gets a gig in this offseason, and maybe the team coming to town this weekend is where he's going to end up. And I sincerely hope that he has an interview first thing in the morning on February 8th as a 2-time champ. And I think he deserves to show up hungover for that one. But to kind of piggyback on what Dean said, we talked to Christian Okoye earlier this week, and just another player who's just straight up smitten with the current team. And it was great. Yeah. It was just great. We went into the whole thing prepared to talk about Chiefs football, but also prepared to not, just in case he's not, you know, following the team. But that dude's a fanatic.
Yeah, he was all about it. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
He's a fan. He made us go there in a way that we weren't necessarily ready for.
It was a great conversation. Yeah.
Brian, you want to go to stats, or do you have any old friends?
No, I was just thinking about Christian Okoye. I didn't know if you were going to go there. And
Sure.
I was just actually Googling right now because I was not prepared for that question. I was wondering what Todd Haley was doing lately. Seems like he's doing okay, I guess.
Get in a bar fight, maybe. I don't know.
There you go.
That's about as far as I can go with this discussion right now.
There you go. So the other thing, Dean, that we do is if this week was a song, and Brian, I believe you were prepared for this one, right? Do you have a song for the week, or are we going to?
Oh, yeah, I got a song, sure.
Yeah. So we'll go Brian, Chris, Dean.
I've been hanging on for this one since the Steelers finally lost, but I think we're alone now.
Pull it out, Tiffany. That's awesome.
Oh, I was thinking of that basically, yeah, we're out. We're in the spot for the bye, and they keep losing. I'm like, that's cool. Yeah, keep on losing more. We'll keep winning, and we'll just keep
to
on.
the Bengals, yeah.
Dean, you're from a musician family, so what is your song for the week?
My song for the week is probably Bob Seger's "Turn the Page." It's just every week we got a new opponent. Up, W, turn the page. Back on the old dusty road, going down the highway, waiting for the road to the playoffs. So I'm gonna say turn the page.
Yep.
Like it.
All right, Chris, what do you got?
So I got Fooling Yourself by Styx, because if you're out there thinking the Chiefs are somehow wavering because they're only winning by one score, you're fooling yourself, because they put themselves in winning positions, and they've also proven in the past that they can come back when they're not winning. So this team is the best team in the NFL. I don't care if they win by 1 point, because if they win by 1 point in the Super Bowl, is anybody going to complain?
Yeah,
Probably not.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Not at all.
Exactly. So I have one that's a little bit of a deep cut and then an obvious one. So the little bit of a deep cut. So let's just kind of picture right around the time that Ben Roethlisberger was coming into the league. Well, he was drafted in 2005, I believe. So we're in the tail end of the glory pop punk era, where Blink-182, Newfound Glory are kind of just on top of the world. And all of a sudden, this band from Chicago kind of comes out of nowhere, getting ready to take the world by storm. And before they told everybody to cock it and pull it, they asked one question, which was, "Where is your boy tonight?" And that's what I want to say to Ben Roethlisberger. Where is your boy, Pittsburgh? Boy. I thought he was a quarterback. But maybe you thought he was the last good thing left about this town. So that's it right there. So throwing it out to Fall Out Boy, not Brand New, which is my favorite band, Chris, by the way.
I love Brand New, but yeah, sorry.
Brand New is my favorite band, but that was a throw out to Fall Out Boy. Brand New is from the Long Island area.
Gotcha.
And so around that same time, they had the Devil and God raging inside of them, and I feel like that's how most Pittsburgh fans feel, so we can tie that back as well. But the big song for me is just Jermaine Dupri, "Welcome to Atlanta." But really, we're welcoming Atlanta, and they're going to see where the players play, because we're going to be up all on them like the whole goddamn day. So there we go. My favorite stat for the week, saw a graphic that L'Jarius Sneed defended 3 passes. He had an interception. He had 3 tackles and a sack, and nobody else has done that. That dude's a stud. He's a Pro Bowler. And I kind of think of him as a harder hitting Marcus Peters that keeps his mouth shut. So he's an upgrade to the last really good one of those. And Chris, what's your stat?
Oh, I got a couple. I'm gonna go with this one to belabor the point. But the Chiefs are the first team in NFL history to win 6 straight games by 7 or fewer points. This team's really in trouble. 13 out of 14, but yeah.
Dean, what's your stat you want to throw out?
My stat, we've all heard it, and I'm sure we've all been smiling about it for the last couple weeks. But over the last calendar year, we are 22-1 as a franchise. Yes. We have not lost, except for the Raiders, in one full calendar. Yep. That is just that's more than I could ever dream of as a Chiefs fan. Like I think back to my 2-14 days, my cheering when Matt Castle got a concussion days, my Brody Croyle days, and I think
Tyler Palco.
Oh my God! Don't get me started. But like I think back to all these troubled times in Kansas City Chiefs history, and it's like, wow, like I can't take this for granted. This is a stat that I'm going to remember for a long, long time.
Yeah, I have a bunch of friends from Boston, obviously Patriots fans, and it's crazy to listen to them talk about what it was like growing up rooting for that team, and it's our same story. And I hope the book reads in a very similar but slightly better way. You know, the editors for our book got to see the one before, so we can just go ahead and revise a couple chapters, if you will. Ryan, I have one stat to throw to you, unless you have a Chief stat you want to add in real quick.
Throw me the stat. What do you got?
All right, so I saw this stat. This was on let's see here. This is on First Things First. So this is Nick Wright's show on Fox Sports. Yeah, I love Nick Wright too. He's a Kansas City guy.
I used to listen to him on 610.
Yeah, so they
love his takes.
So they show a video of, just to pile on to the Steelers here, Juju Smith-Schuster still keeps doing his dance on the logo like they're on top of the world. And then he goes out, like first pass route, he gets his head knocked off and the ball taken out at the same time. And it was great. It was great. Couldn't happen to a nicer loudmouth than that. But that pregame video didn't age very well. But this stat pops up. And Brian's getting ready to talk about one of these two teams, but I'm going to throw out two stats. There's a team on the left that over the last 3 games is 1-2, scored 18 points a game, has 122.7 rush yards per game, a 42.1% third down conversion, and 4 turnovers. There's a team on the right that is 0-3, has 16.3 points per game, 51.3 rush yards, a 26.8 third down conversion, and 6 turnovers. The team on the right is the Steelers, and the team on the left is the Jets. Brian, what do you want to tell us about the Jets?
Please.
They're playing better than the Steelers.
I've been looking forward to
this
this.
moment.
Yeah.
All right, I got to share my screen here, so let me just get this ready here. And say here. I got to share the audio as well. That's me with some glasses.
Looking good.
See here. How do I do it with the... There we go. All right, ready?
Yes.
We're ready.
As a casual football fan, the vast world of the NFL and all of its characters never ceases to amaze me. So when I saw that the New York Jets finally won a game this season, I was actually very happy for the team. I was very happy for the fans and for everyone.
To me, going 0-16 has that type of historical value that teams would never want to have ever under any circumstance. But going 1-15, however, is just a terrible season that history will forget. So I believed it when the Jets fans would just want one win and then move on.
But I was wrong. Very, very wrong.
Why? It's all about getting that #1 pick in the draft. You know, being part of a winning fandom, being part of a winning team, being part of a winning culture brings the community together in a fun way. But the Jets fans found a way to turn their losing streak into a thriving community. A community built on enjoying the suck, being proud of the shortcomings, and looking forward to the changing of the guard. The memes are funny. The comments are funnier. If losing was a beloved artist, the Jets would be Bruce Springsteen, who, by the way, likes to remind all of us that the New York Jets' home stadium is actually in New Jersey. So, the New York Jets are actually losers in 2 states. Now that's impressive. A quick look at the Jets subreddit shows a desire to lose, and not just regular lose, but lose in a glorious fashion. They have graphics, they have ongoing jokes, they even have a specific lingo. So, when the time ran out and the Jets beat the very impressive LA Rams team, it's interesting to see how the reactions of the collective heartbreak came to be. It's the kind of heartbreak that rivals when a top-seeded team goes out way too early in the playoffs, or when it loses at the hands of a huge comeback. Check out Indy vs. KC a few years ago. So, my heart goes out to the Jets. They really wanted that first-round draft pick. It appears to be in serious jeopardy now, so hopefully you'll lose your footing ASAP and get back off track. Or perhaps we're all looking at this the wrong way. Perhaps this is a moment that we need to identify how on brand this is for the Jets. Confused? Let me put it to you this way.
If it doesn't work out and the Jets do not get the first-round draft pick, do not be surprised, because leave it to the Jets to fail at failing.
That was beautiful.
And that's it.
Oh, I love that.
It was absolutely beautiful.
Oh.
I loved every bit of that.
Oh my God, that's great. That's great.
I was I remember typing that up on Sunday, and I repeated it back to my wife, and she's like, "You're mean. Why are you so the meanest thing you've ever said?" Like, it just kind of flowed out of me as I was writing it.
Then you should have showed her some tweets from Jets fans and be like, "Oh, actually, you're being kind of nice."
Here's the good news. That's going to get clipped out, and we're going to throw it out in the world, and there you go.
That sounds good to me. Yeah, I'll take care of that. Yeah,
The Men in Black had me just about crying.
Oh, that was great,
That
man.
was funny.
A flashy thing.
You're not going to do that flashy thing to me. You haven't done that.
No, I'm not playing with you. No.
All right. So next thing we're going to do is get into the rest of the league, and what we've done here recently is show the NFL playoff machine, because that's the best projection tool that exists. So let's go to week 16. Can you all see my screen?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right, super. So we took the liberty of filling in the games that we think are going to be completely in hand, and we have some ones to talk about here. So the first one that I'm going to throw out, we could not agree that a pissed off Saints team that lost to Kansas City at home is not going to host the Vikings and win in hand. So Chris, explain yourself. I mean, we went through this last week.
Yeah.
What is your rationale?
We did. So even after watching this Saints Chiefs game, although I'm having some doubts, I mean, still the Saints, they elevated 3 wide receivers from the practice squad last week. And the Vikings are weird because they have enough offense. Their defense is garbage, which is strange to say because Mike Zimmer is this defensive guru, but they've had a lot of injuries on the defensive side. But Kirk Cousins has these weird times where he just shows up and shows out, and it's on Christmas tomorrow. I just got this weird feeling that the Vikings are going to pull out the upset.
Dean, any thoughts
That's
on
all
that?
I got.
You know what? I'm just about right there with you. You know what I mean? The Minnesota's offense can be up to par with Kansas City, and that's really bold of me to say. But with Dalvin Cook, with Adam Thielen, with their rookie and Justin Jefferson, with their tight end whose name isn't coming to mind right now,
Kyle Rudolph.
and thank you, and Kirk Cousins playing at an above par rate, this definitely could be a team to be reckoned with. Now, defensively, I'm right there with you too. I mean, they've had some injuries too, and them trading Everson Griffin was probably the dumbest thing they've done all season. But as long as their offense can go shot for shot with a decrepit Drew Brees, I think Minnesota really has a chance. Now, that being said, Saints defense definitely was doing something against Kansas City in that second half. If Marshawn Lattimore's stepping up, if Cam Jordan is playing appropriately, this could definitely be an easy L for the Vikings. I wouldn't take this game lightly.
Brian, I'm gonna let you have a chance to jump in on any of these. I'm gonna give you a couple seconds before I
don't get it. I don't get it.
these.
I'm like, after watching the Saints go toe for toe, blow for blow against the Chiefs, that you're thinking that the 6-8 Minnesota versus the 10-4 New Orleans. Like, don't get me wrong, this is professional football and people rise to the occasion, but I don't see how the Saints don't come out on top on this one. But that's just me. I know Kirk Cousins. I mean, I'm thinking Kirk Cousins last season and how is kind of a punchline at this point. But this is a different year and different season and all that. But I really just think the Saints are going to take care of this.
I'm big on offensive teams, and as Dean pointed out, they've got 2 good wide receivers, probably the best all-around running back in football, who's finally healthy. And it's just a short week with the old man Breeze coming off, some pretty good shots by the Chiefs defense. I still got this feeling, if not the Vikings don't win, at least they cover. That's how I feel about this game.
And let's not forget, the Saints are definitely missing Michael Thomas too. So Drew Brees is going to have to find that consistent target, whether it be Emmanuel Sanders or if he's just going to dump it off to Alvin Kamara all day. Oh, and they got Jared Cook too. So if they need a tight end for a good out route, they'll stop over the middle. He's just going to have to find his rhythm.
Brian, is this a hill you want to die on?
Well, yes, I think I will. I think I'm going to die with the Saints. But look, if you pick the Vikings, I'm not gonna disown you. I promise. we can still can we still be friends?
I cannot argue with picking the Saints.
Do we want to call this one a tie?
We can lean towards the Saints. I'm
fine with picking the Saints, but I got.
Let's play a quick game.
Swear to
here.
God, if the Saints lose, I get a bunch of text messages. Actually,
so right now we have Tampa Bay sitting at an 11-5 record. I don't think that this would change anything. But let's play a quick game here. New Orleans is winning this division, so we're really kind of fighting over nothing. But I think I'm gonna push for the Saints here. I don't see the thing happening. So the next game, we're gonna get into the NFC West quite a bit. So we have the Niners and the Cardinals. So we have the Cardinals holding on to the 7th seed right now. If the Niners win this game, really all they're doing is playing defense on the Cardinals getting back in. Do we see the Niners playing a spoiler role here?
No, because they have C.J. Beathard starting. That's enough for me.
Man, I'm sold.
Brian, any arguments? I'm good with that too.
I'm good.
Good. All right.
Arizona.
So we have. So the next game up, could the Steelers possibly lose 4 in a row to the Colts? I think they can.
Possibly, yeah, for sure. I mean,
if Philip Rivers wasn't playing quarterback on the other side, I would say yes. But I can't. Philip Rivers is just. You got Philip Rivers and Ben Roethlisberger, who's gonna basically hold my beer on this game, I think. But I think it's gonna. I'm gonna take the Steelers, but if you guys want to go with the Colts, I don't blame you.
See,
all right.
Go ahead, man. Oh, my fault. I'm gonna end up going Indianapolis, and the only reason I'm gonna go with that is because their defense is top 5 in the league, has been top 5 all year. Their linebacker, what's his name? It's not Nelson, is it?
No, but he didn't make the Pro Bowl, and it was a bunch of crap. So,
big snub there. That linebacker is something to mess with.
Was it Leonard?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Leonard, he is an absolute monster, and matching up with a tough defense like that, I don't think the Steelers have really been lined up on the other side with a defense like that. And I think Philip Rivers' offense,
scoring game. I really do.
I could see like a 17-14 type game, But I think Philip Rivers has enough in him to get him down the field 3-4 times.
Okay.
All right, Brian, we're 1-1. I'm following you on this one.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna go with the Colts on this one, and I'm also looking at the Cleveland Browns are 10-4. What the f? Okay, I need to start paying attention.
Whoa,
what the hell's going on? Jeez.
Yeah,
that's different.
So look at what just happened right there. The Colts just ended up 12-4. So that's what we're looking at. So the next game that I think we're looking at is getting back into the other part of the NFC West. So right now we have a 10-4 Seattle and a 9-5 Rams. So do the Rams show up and show out after being embarrassed by the Jets, or do the Seahawks take full leadership over this division? Brian, I'll let you go first.
When it comes to Seattle, obviously I don't have a whole lot of names, a whole lot of stats to point to. I just know Seattle is so tough to beat. They're just so tough. And anytime I see them play, where they're playing, and I'm just like. Home. They're playing. Oh God. Okay, yeah, I'm going to Seattle on this one. Just on that. Like, I mean, I would point to you names, I would point to you stats, but just like beating Seattle at home, that's a tough one, man. So I'm gonna go with that.
Chris, what do you got on that one?
It's tough. I still can't get out of my mind how LA's defense dominated Seattle's offense in that first game, and how Russell Wilson didn't even throw a ball DK Metcalf's way till the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. Shoot. I'll go Seattle.
We got Seattle for 2. Dean, are you going to argue for the Rams?
Man, I want to. If the Jets didn't do what they did, believe me, I'd be arguing Rams right now, but you got Jamal Adams, you got Bobby Wagner, you got some dogs in that secondary for Seattle, and Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I mean, Russell Wilson isn't going to go the whole game throwing 15 passes. You know what I mean? Like
he's got to challenge Jalen Ramsey more than he did last time.
Yeah,
exactly. And you know that's something that they're going to try and implement this week is trying to get DK open early, and then start getting those other targets some balls. You know what I mean? And Russ is one of those top 3, top 2 guys at distributing the football around.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He made Jimmy Graham get another 1-year contract with Green Bay, for God's sake. Like he's a good ball thrower, man, and I expect him to make some pretty short work out of this LA secondary. But I don't know, LA could definitely be stepping it up after that just disparaging loss to the Jets.
LA reeling. All right.
Yeah.
So next one we got is the Titans and the Packers. And if you look at where the Titans are, this is going to throw them at a 12-4 record, which is going to have some seed implications. So do we think the Titans go into Green Bay and run the ball down the Packers' throat, or what are we thinking here? I'm just going to start out and say I'm feeling the Titans on this one.
Well, I think Ryan Tannehill is not getting enough credit for what he's doing this year, and I think Corey Davis and A.J. Brown are very good on the outside. Both defenses are bad, but I just, Derrick Henry doesn't just run the ball effectively. He gets big plays out of the running game. That's why I like the Titans offense so much. So, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. Dean?
I mean, this game is really just going to come down to time of possession. Mm-hmm. If Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, and the guys are able to control the clock, and this is in Lambeau too?
In Lambeau, yeah.
Man, if they're able to control this clock, I don't see why the Titans shouldn't be able to come out on top. However, it's still definitely Aaron Rodgers on the other side of the ball too. That's a man amongst boys, and I wouldn't be surprised if he made it 17-0 before the half, then just rode it out. I'm a go Packers on this one, but I like Tennessee's chances coming out the gates.
Brian, what you got?
Okay, so every time I see any breakdown on sports, they're talking about like the professional football league, I should say, is they always talking about like put Mahomes and put Aaron Rodgers. It seems like they're going like for this kind of season, they're having like a kind of a shot for shot kind of season, and then that makes me think that Aaron Rodgers is really like obviously he's Aaron Rodgers, but he's having the kind of season that is very impressive. So when you have that kind of leadership, that kind of tradition, and you're at Lambeau, it's like, how do you get past that? But then again, the Titans, I remember them just running over us. So, but that was a while ago. So I just, with those numbers and being in Green Bay, I'm leaning Green Bay on this one.
Okay. And for me, it's just the whole AFC and NFC thing. I don't know. The AFC is just so much better than the NFC.
If it's snowing.
But, yeah. I don't know.
So what I think we're picking right here is we have the Chiefs beating the Falcons, and as of right now, we pencil them in for beating the Chargers in Week 17 to ruin that surprise. So here's the real question: after this week, do we still have an MVP debate, or has Patrick kept it based on what happens here in Green Bay? And I'm inclined to say that Mahomes is the prohibitive favorite for MVP after this game.
I don't, because I think Rodgers can still have a big game and lose this game.
Sure. All right, so it looks like we're about as split as we can possibly be. So we going Packers on this one?
Let's go Packers.
I feel like
that's
the
lean.
Here.
Go Pack, go.
Yeah. Go Pack, go. Okay, so the last one we have is the Bills and the Patriots, and the Bills are playing for a 2 seed. The Bills are playing to dominate the AFC East and cement themselves as the new leaders. The Patriots have been what's been standing in their way this entire time. The Patriots have kept them out of the playoffs. They've been just a complete thorn in their side. Does that end now? I think it does.
Yes, I agree.
Any opposition to the Bills winning this game?
Not at all. Not at all. I think the Patriots hold it pretty close in the first quarter, and then I think the Bills just put it in their throat.
Did the Patriots lose to the Dolphins recently? Like last five years ago or something like that?
Like 26 to something.
Okay, I think the Patriots are going to run over the Bills. They're so pissed off right now. Pissed off at everything. Belichick's pissed off at the season. They're all pissed off. They're going to take it out on the Bills. I'm going with Patriots on this one.
He brings Kevin Falk off the street and he just goes on.
Brian, I think we all live in a world where that can happen, but we're going to go 3-1 on this one. And you can make an I told you so video if the Patriots pull this one up. In fact, I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Okay, yeah, that will happen if that happens. Okay.
Done. Okay. So let's stay with the Bills. So as of right now, we have a Dolphins team that it looks like we have in a knife fight with the Baltimore Ravens. Do they show up and take the Bills out in New York? No. Here's the first question. Would this make a difference? Okay, so here we go. Does Miami win for its playoff life?
Oh, my God.
Oh, because Buffalo is playing for its second seed life.
Buffalo's, but here's the thing. Even if the Dolphins win the way we have it, Buffalo's the Dolphins have to win this game.
Well, okay.
Dolphins have to win this game.
Can't win this. No,
I can see it, man.
I don't know.
Okay.
I can see it, man.
So a Dolphins win sends the Ravens home. And just looking at what we have the Ravens beating the Bengals, and then we also have the Ravens beating the Giants.
Okay, Miami, we lift the curse of Ray Finkel off of you.
Yeah, so
playoffs there.
In agreement, we have the Ravens and the Dolphins both winning their last two games. So the Dolphins will be beating the Raiders and the Bills for the final playoff spot and a rematch in that game. And I think they get their heads beat in, but I think that's what happens.
Yeah.
God, I would love to see Miami win that game, man.
We're gonna play this game 2 weeks in a row. I think Miami wins round one. And the jump ahead, I think playoff week one, the Bills get revenge. Brian, any major arguments against this?
Next thing you'll tell me the Browns are in the playoffs. Good God. What is going on?
They are.
Good Lord. Oh, my God.
Okay. So here's what we're looking at. We have two 11-4 teams that are going to be playing each other. It looks like 2 weeks in a row again, the way that we're lining this up. And look at these division matchups.
They play each other.
Goddamn gold right here.
How is this shit?
Okay, so we have the Browns at home. And so what we've got at stake is the Browns are at home. Are they going to win to get a second playoff game at home and host the first playoff game since God only knows when? Probably the first time since this reprised franchise is back. I'm not looking that up. If anybody else wants to, go for it. But so do the Browns get a win to get a host the Steelers, or do the Steelers take care of the kid brother from down the street like they always have and keep hosting a home game?
You know, last week I said the Steelers, but this is going to be the Browns Super Bowl. I got to go Cleveland.
Yes.
I agree.
Chaos.
They're rolling right now. Yeah.
That Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb combo, man. Who's stopping it? Who's standing them up?
No one.
And then when you do, you got Jarvis Landry. Then you got Juice Higgins. Then you got God, dude. Me and tight ends outside of Kelsey, I can never remember him.
Baker Mayfield looks like a competent quarterback again. I mean, gosh.
So when we look at our
first time
playoffs
since Oklahoma,
we've got 3 divisional matchups with this 7th playoff team, and we've got the Bills, the Browns, and the Colts hosting games. And I think after this, we're gonna see Kansas City hosting the Titans or the Steelers. You know, one of those two are gonna underdog. Is what I'm thinking. So
I hope it's the Steelers. I'll go on record saying that.
Yep, there you go. I'm down with that as well. All right, so it looks like we have a couple of NFC games to finish out. It looks like we got to decide what's happening with Washington and the West. So let's look at Washington and the Eagles. It doesn't look like the Eagles can do anything. So really what we're looking at is, are we going to have a 500 team or a losing team in the playoffs?
It depends if Alex Smith is back for that game.
Brian wants a losing team, so he's going Eagles.
Okay, right on.
500 team or losing team in the play.
Jalen Hurts is going to
Oh, I
complicate
love the season.
the Eagles' future even further.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're doing it. We're doing it.
Yep, right there
So
with
Washington's got it, but they got a losing team. So we're gonna embrace chaos.
Right.
Okay. So the last thing that we have to figure out, and it looks like at this point, let's see here. So if the Cardinals would lose, they would still be 9-7. And is there any 9-7 team waiting to take their spot? It doesn't look like it. So really what we're looking at is
Seeding.
nothing. It's who has to go to the Saints, who has to go to the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
So do we think the Rams take care of business at home?
No, I don't. I think Kyler Murray pulls it together with D-Hop. I think Budda Baker, Byron Murphy, and their secondary step up. I don't think LA can go shot for shot with the Cardinals when they're hot, especially with Kyler Murray moving out of the pocket on the roll, picking up extra yards with his legs. I mean, kid's a beast. Quicker than a hiccup, man.
Murray could have a big game with his legs in this game. That's
Murray's
one thing
coming
that
out
you
party.
can't that LA can't defend.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So before we look at this last game, Brian, any issues with picking the Cardinals?
No issues with that. That's fine.
Okay. So let's look. If the Seahawks win this game, they're the 3 seed, win or lose.
Yeah.
So do they play or do they care?
I think they play him.
I think they play him
actually
too.
try. You know
I
what
do
I mean?
too. Niners
it
going
better.
5-11, and let's look at them to rebound really hard the following year. So
CJ Beathard, that's all I gotta say.
yeah, there you go. Okay.
You're selling me on that, man.
As
right,
a friend
so-
told me once, that CJ Beathard is like a microwave. He's good for 2 or 3 drives, and after that, so
There you go. There you go.
that's it.
I'm gonna steal that.
So
Yeah.
he's like a cheap 2-cycle engine.
There you go.
Put it on your weed eater, you get 2 seasons out of it if you have a real yard. Okay. So then we have the Rams going to the Saints, the Cardinals going to the Seahawks, battle of the birds, and then we have Tom Brady taking on potentially Alex Smith. So what are we seeing for the first week of the playoffs? Are we going to see Alex Smith playing in the second week?
Absolutely not. No.
I have doubts because
God,
it's the playoffs. I just.
I love me
It's
some
gonna be
A.
close.
Smith, man, but
Yeah.
there's no way that's gonna happen. That's
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady,
So-
AB, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Leonard
Yeah.
Fournette, Ronald Jones. Dude.
So I'm seeing the Bucks going to the Packers, and then chalk on the other 2 games. We're going to have the Saints hosting the Seahawks, and I think that
Yeah.
one just stays really uninteresting. So, to me, the divisional round is Packers, Bucks, Saints, Seahawks, and then over on the AFC side, we're going to go ahead and say Chiefs, Steelers, and
Tennessee,
Buffalo
Cleveland.
and Tennessee.
Buffalo and Tennessee. Yeah.
Buffalo and Tennessee. I like that. Chiefs, Steelers, Buffalo, Tennessee. So
Yeah.
we'll move on from there.
I can see that.
Cool. All right, so we're into the home stretch, and actually, Dean, we didn't mention this to you, so we'll give you a second to catch up on this. So, at this point, we talk about fantasy players, and so we go with a boom, a bust, and a most okayest player from this past week. So, my boom is going to be Josh Allen. 40 points is a huge number. The bust is Zeke Elliott, who scratched, I want to say, 5 minutes before the game and screwed over.
And Tony
everybody
Pollard
playing him.
scored 30.
Yes. And
Yeah.
I happen to be in the semifinals in one of my leagues, actually the league that I care most about winning. And the dude I was playing had Zeke Elliott, and I went ahead and picked up Tony Pollard off of waivers this week. So keep it rolling, Zeke. It's been really interesting to watch your career. And my most okayest player is Raheem Mostert. With his incredibly inconsistent availability all season, you are okay with 6.8 points from him, if that's what you happen to have to play. So, Chris, what's your boom, bust, and okayest?
Yeah, boom was Tony Pollard, just because, to your point of the worst contract in the NFL, Tony Pollard just made that look even worse.
Yep.
For bust, I actually don't know, but most okayest, I've got Jerry Jeudy, and just to rag on Drew Lock even further, it's like you have probably the best wide receiver talent coming out of the draft, and you can barely get that guy the football. I don't know.
Yep. And I remember at the beginning of the season, he was running. Chris went to the same high school as Drew Lock.
15 years apart, but yeah.
Yep. And then, I remember watching videos, just given where Brian and I grew up, halfway between Denver and Kansas City. This was a somewhat divided town, and so we both have social media friends all over the place that were posting all these Jerry Jeudy running cone drills at the beginning of the season. And I remember going back and saying, do you have any videos of Drew Lock hitting him with a football on time when he does any of that stuff? Because I don't feel like this is necessary, to get excited about. But anyway, Dean, who do you got for fantasy?
My boom might actually come as surprising. Deshaun Watson on that garbage Houston team is still out here putting up numbers. He's top 10 in fantasy points all year so far with 324. And he, above all odds and above all L's, has been able to still overcome and put up points each and every week. My bust, probably going to end up going Mecole Hardman. I picked him up thinking he was going to be our slot guy now that Tyreek's our number one and have Sammy as a Z. But Mecole has just been really in and out. You know what I mean? He's had that catch in the back of the end zone, and then he's had wide open passes that's going straight through his hands. So I don't know about him.
That one against Tampa out of my head.
For a seasoned body of work, he might be the most okayest player.
Yeah,
honestly, okayest
for our team.
But I'll call him a bust just because I expected much more production out of him. I thought D-Rob was going to be hitting the bench a lot more.
I think Andy Reid thought the same thing.
Yeah, especially when Watkins was hurt, you thought he would step in as number two. But
yeah. Who is your okayest player?
My okayest player, Stephon Diggs, and he is top 5 in receiving yards this year. I think he's spot number 4 right now. But he has those spurts where he'll have like 27-point game, 9-point game, 32-point game, 11-point game. So he has those spurts where he just goes off and makes up those yards from the game he lost before. But I'd call him as the okayest.
Yep, fantasy philosophy. The guy you want is not necessarily the dude that hits 30. You want the guy who never goes below 10. So keep that in mind. Brian doesn't play fantasy, but if you want to pick a kicker or something like that to be an okayest player, go for it.
I'm reminded of a line from The Office where Ryan was talking about Michael Scott, and Michael Scott was talking about what it's like to get high smoking marijuana. And Michael Scott's explaining about like what it's like to get high, and then cuts to Ryan in the confessional going, I don't think Michael has ever done drugs. I don't think he has anyone who's ever offered him any.
One of the best talking heads from The Office. Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't have a fantasy team. I don't have a fantasy team. This never happened. So, but yeah, no. Go.
Nobody's ever offered it to him. That's untrue. I've offered, but
I'm lazy. I've attempted, and it's not for me. Like I'm too. I don't know. I'm too sporadic in my. I'm what's it called? ADD. I can't do it. So
gotcha. All right, so Dean, I told you we were going to throw 2 surprises at you. Here's the first one. Right. We started creating a scenario. So you are given 2 days off of work, a flight to Vegas, and a check for $1 million with a stipulation that you have to bet on the AFC champion, the NFC champion, and the Super Bowl champion. Who are you betting on, and how much money are you allocating to each?
That is a phenomenal question.
Thank you.
Let's start with that. That was a phenomenal question. Man, all right. So beginning of the year, I had Chiefs Seahawks, and due to the Seahawks' inability to stay consistent, I think I'm going to have to go with the Packers. So I'm going to go Packers NFC, I'll put $250 on that. I'll put $250,000 on it. Packers winning the NFC Championship, and then I'll easily put another $250 on Kansas City, and then $500 for Kansas City coming out on top. I think it's going to be a rematch of Super Bowl I.
Sweet.
And you're going to finally see the
hope so.
first Mahomes-Rodgers clash in that
State Farm
Real
Bowl.
game.
the State
Yeah.
Farm Bowl. That's
State
right.
Farm Bowl.
Copyright
All right.
that.
Chris, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm even going to put like less on the NFC because I still don't know who's going to come out of the NFC. So I'm going to go like 50,000, I guess, on the Packers because last week I was all about the Rams. So who knows who I'm going to be after this weekend? And then I'll put a $250,000 on the Chiefs out of the AFC Championship and the rest on the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Brian, what you got?
Terrible at gambling. I don't know. Let me think. I'm telling you. I'm thinking. I like Green Bay, what they're doing there. But yeah, if I had I'd be stupid not to put a significant amount of money on the Chiefs for AFC. So half 500 Chiefs, and I'm gonna do divide it all up. What's that thing where you're playing roulette and you just you bet on black and red and hope it doesn't hit green?
Waste money? I don't know.
Be boring and lame at a casino? Yeah, I'll do that. As long as the drinks keep coming, I don't care.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I'm gosh, it's hard to rule out the way the Packers are playing this year. So the majority of my money, $500,000 $1 in the Chiefs on that one, and then you know what? F it. Give me $250 in the Bucks, another $250 on Green Bay. Let's see what happens.
All right, there you go. All right, so the way I'm doing this is same as last week. So I'm going to start with $992,721 on the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl for $990, and then $2,721 for the Super Bowl date. And then I'm going to put the extra buck on the Chiefs to win the AFC Championship, and then the $36.39 for NFC Championship is my hedge fund. So I'm throwing the Washington football team to get the horrible odds and hope for the good situation. So then second to last question, Dean, Patrick Mahomes puts ketchup on a steak. Would you do that?
Man, what kind of steak?
It doesn't matter.
Salisbury.
Hamburger steak.
I remember growing up, the first time I put A1 on a steak, and my dad yelled at me, you never put sauce on a steak. Steak is good as it is. And that's always how I've had it. Plain steak, potatoes, and maybe some broccoli.
All right, so Dean was raised right, like all four of us. So
no, seriously, there's an episode of Dick Van Dyke from the 50s where they goof on people putting ketchup on steak. I swear to God, I've seen it on Nick at Night back in the day.
I love Nick at Night. Oh yeah.
Back before it was TV land. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, right. Remember that? I remember that.
All right, so the last thing that we do to end everything is you've got just a little bit of screen time to say whatever you want. This is like the end of the round the horn if you win. So Brian, why don't we give you the last shot first this week?
Well, it's one of those things where obviously there's a Chiefs perspective. They're doing what they do normally, and it's exciting to keep it rolling. It makes you appreciate the time we have now. It takes me back to this Bill Burr quote. Whenever he was asking, Conan once asked Bill Burr, "It's like, do you hate being a Patriots fan and winning every year, and you get the win all the time?" And he goes, No, it's awesome. I love it every year. I don't care. And if it was your team, you would love it too. And I was watching that. I'm like, it's got to get old. And we're kind of new to this whole thing. But you know what? He's right. This is not old. This is actually very fun. And I like this. Mm-hmm. I want this to keep going forever. So you know what? I get it now. So let's keep it going, please.
Yeah, I like complaining about how much the Chiefs don't win enough by. Like that's a good complaint, I guess. Yeah.
Great complaint.
Yeah.
Chris, what do you got?
Well, so Kevin Green passed away on Monday at the age of 58, and he was one of the best edge rushers I ever saw play. And the freakish thing about Kevin Green, I mean, I first remember watching him as a Steeler. He paired up with Greg Lloyd as one of the best duos that I've ever saw in my life. but the guy didn't slow down. Like his last 3 seasons at 35, 36, and 37, the guy had 10 and a half, 15, and 12 sacks respectively. But I mean, that guy was just a machine. And what was interesting is that, he came out of that era with Reggie White and Bruce Smith. So he's a little bit overshadowed by those guys, but I mean, his production was incredible. And he was also, an assistant coach for the Packers for 5 years. So that was a little bit of something that kind of hit home to Packers fans. But I just want to give a shout out to Kevin Green and his family. Thoughts are with him.
Yeah. Dean, what do you got?
May he rest in peace. But I want to shout out the Chiefs' best kicker all time, Dustin Colquitt, fighting for his job. God bless that guy. Went and got our ring after 13 years with Kansas City, then decided to go to Pittsburgh to finish his career where his pops played. Didn't even make the cut. Then ended up going to the Bucs practice squad, and as of 7 hours ago, the Bucs released him, and now he's picked up by the Jaguars practice squad. God bless that guy, but man, just retire a Chief already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this Townsend kid, but come get your jersey, come get your name up on the Ring of Honor, man. Like, we're past that. You did your Steelers stint. I love you, but please, just be a Chief.
Come join Gerald Wilson on the Ring of Fame. Yeah.
I'm saying, man, please. We need it out of you, Colquitt.
Yeah. No, we're all about Colquitt making the Ring of Honor. So my last thing, just want to say that COVID's made this year a lot less fun than it should be. And it's making Christmas less fun than it should be. But even though we don't get to make the decisions that we want to, don't let it rain on your parade, and enjoy the family that you do get to be with. I'm glad that Dean gets to be with his dad, and I'm glad to have the Crow family here with us tonight. And I know that I get to see my family this week. My mom actually made this great quilt painting type of thing.
Beautiful.
I accidentally went into the garage to get beer and saw what I wasn't supposed to see until tomorrow morning, but here we are. I don't know if she has any for sale, but we can probably fix that. But in any event, Merry Christmas to everybody, and big thanks for Dean jumping on here, and
thank you for having
you
me,
guys, and glad to see you.
Appreciate it. I hope to do this again sometime, man. Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Please come back. Yeah.
All right, peace, everybody.
Merry Christmas, y'all.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Christmas.